place. They're going to be joining us on the call talking about goal setting, business, and defense. So this is a Instagram to tell you guys to head over to youtube.com/@DavidGreene24.
What's going on, YouTube Live? What a great time to start, because we literally have a helicopter flying right over our head. Hope everyone is doing well today. I'm Kyle Ranke, COO of the David Greene team, live here from Scottsdale, Arizona at Dave Greene's and Rob Bilt's mansion, hosting the David Greene Retreat. I have with me Mr. David Greene himself and one of our retreat members, Mr. Mark Hansen. You may have seen him. He's actually joined us before on these YouTube Lives. Let's see who we got here. Mickey sending out the good vibes, saying hello to the Scottsdale crew. What's going on, Mickey? You've been here before. You've actually sat at this very table where we're sitting. Great to see you. Who else do we have? Tampa Bay in the house. Great to see you. Looking good as always. John Bear, hello from PA. Great to see you. We got finally it's sunny Napa. Good. It sounds like the sun is coming out. Javier, ni hao. Hello. Ni hao. Sparrows from Orange County. Chase saying what's up. Kerry, Spartan League member. He says he hopes we're having a great time. Jealous. Yes, you got to come out here next time. We'd love to have you. Lisa, another Spartan League member. All the snow-covered mountains of SoCal. I can tell you one thing. There is no snow in Scottsdale, Arizona right now. It is absolutely beautiful. You can see David flexing his guns. Well, he doesn't have to flex. That's the beauty of it.
That's a nice thing for you to say.
Yeah, I mean, they just look really good on camera. We got Lydia saying what's up from the Florida Keys. Good to have you. Dominic, my man.
I think you can pull the computer closer, or it will be in the camera shot.
Okay, let's
Easier
see.
for you.
Mark moved it. Blame him. Oh, yeah, look at this.
It's always my fault.
There we go. Yeah, I think we're good. And you can check out the new Spartan League sticker here.
Was this working or no?
No, we couldn't get it to work.
Wouldn't come up.
Oh, what's up? Very cool. We got Jason hanging out. Great to see you. Kate Dahl saying what's up. Great to see you.
Yeah, so it's something inside
Tim
the mic.
in Dallas. We got some cool people. Dan O'Leary.
How's the audio, guys? Can you hear us okay?
Let us know.
The microphone was damaged in travel.
The good news is I'm not seeing any complaints here. Let us know if you can hear us from the other side. Sach saying what's up from New Jersey. Alex Visalia. Angela doesn't even need to say. They're
Audio's
saying
good.
good audio.
All right.
Yeah, very cool.
We can do a show.
Thanks, Nemo. Thanks, Wendy. Well, I say we just jump right into this. I am having a great time here in Scottsdale. This is actually our third day of the Scottsdale retreat. I went to bed at probably 9:30 last night because my brain was just exhausted from all the great information, the people that we're meeting. This is a very intimate retreat. We've got about 20 different people here, and we already feel like we're all best friends. We know each other really well. You'll probably see some people walking in and out in the background here, but just having a great time, really talking specifically around goal setting and getting to know every investor, every business person, every entrepreneur individually, and what their goals are. So, David, what's your experience been so far as you're doing a little audio cleanup for us there?
Well, it's definitely fun, right? Like, it's always a good time when you get to know people at a deeper level. We do these YouTube Lives, and we try to get to know you guys, but it's harder because not everybody wants to come on camera, and we don't get to go back and forth. So at events like this, I can kind of dive into each individual person's situation. I can hear about their individual questions, their concerns, the individual strengths they have, and help come up with a plan for how they want their 2023 to go. And then they get to hear a little bit more about me, more than we're going to put on the internet, more than we're going to put on a YouTube or a video that you might follow. So the idea is that these events really get to the core of what's stopping you from getting what you want out of life, whether that's being more successful, making more money, buying more property, getting in better shape, having better relationships, even sometimes just the demons in your head that can absolutely bring you down and stop you from moving forward. Can't really just make a video about that, but when we're in person and we're talking, we can get a better feel for every single individual time. So we've got Mark Hansen here. Now, Mark probably showed up for the first time on a YouTube Live 4 weeks ago. What do you think?
3 months ago, something like
2-3 months ago. Okay,
Yep.
Time flies. And he came on when nobody else wanted to, and he had a good conversation, had gotten his real estate license, runs a landscaping business. Fast forward a couple months, he's here in Scottsdale at the mansion with us, having a great time. So why don't we start with Mark? You could just tell us, like, what has this been like compared to what you were expecting?
So I told David the first night when we were just introducing ourselves and getting to know each other that I was looking for something, but I couldn't figure out what. It felt like I was missing some puzzle pieces or didn't know which switch to flip, and that's what I was struggling with. And we are 2 days in, our second day, we've been able to go over some stuff, and I found out the thing that I was missing was hope. The thing that I had that my life had squashed over the last 2 years was hope that I could achieve, hope that I was doing things the right way, and that there was something on the other end. And without that, my life has been just I feel like I've been swimming in circles. And just in the last 2 days, I've got a fire that's lit back in my heart, and I am ready to go back at it. So that has been the biggest change so far.
Let me ask a couple questions. What was for you really not knowing me or David or who was really going to be here when all the way out to Scottsdale for this retreat? What was your biggest fear when you said, you know what, I'm going to go do it?
So I've got 2 years, like I said, that I've been floundering, that I haven't been able to rely on myself. And that's a new feeling for me. That's something I've never had to struggle with. And so over the 2 years, I've been looking in every nook and cranny that I can to find that spark again, to figure out what I've been missing to get back on top of my life and start achieving again. Mm-hmm. And so that was my fear, was, it was going to be another retreat that had been advertised everywhere, that I'd only known you guys for a couple of weeks at the time when I had decided to come out, and that I was basically being sold down the river. That was my biggest fear. So since then, there's been nothing but what I feel like is authenticity that comes out of these Friday Night Lives, out of the Spartan League group that I'm a part of, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of the hook that got me in, and I decided I was going to bite and see what happened. So
very cool. Was there any things when you got here that maybe you were expecting and they happened, or things maybe that you weren't expecting and you got out of it so far?
I didn't know what to expect when meeting both of you for the first time in person. And so that kind of had me a little bit nervous. And we talked about this a little bit ago. The first time that I saw David, I was a little bit nervous because it's the voice that you hear on the podcast. And it's, everything that I've been writing down in real estate for the last little bit was in person. It was like right here. It was right on my shoulder. And that was a little bit nerve wracking because I had a choice in that moment. I could either shrink back like I've been doing for the last 2 years and just go back into my comfort zone and it would be fine. Or I could put myself out there and actually try and get something from the retreat, try and start a relationship, try and meet new people and all that kind of stuff. So
awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, I've been very impressed, Mark, with the way that you have engaged in the retreat. You're not one of the people that just sits there and hopes that someone else says something insightful. You're getting your money's worth. You're going to talk, you're going to share, you're going to jumpstart things. I can tell just based on how you show up in person. And I'm not surprised to hear you're an entrepreneur that's making big things happen for himself at a young age. That's a really valuable skill to be able to build, is just that idea of, I'm going to make things happen. I'm not going to wait for something to come to me. And it puts people like me in a position where I can give you more coaching, more help, more guidance, because I have more to work off of. So I just want to encourage everybody who's here listening to this. If you feel like you're not making progress that you want in business, you're not making progress that you want in relationships, in real estate, whatever it is, there might be a component where you are waiting for something to happen for you. You're waiting for the right video that you watch that says, oh, that's the answer. Or the right course that says, this is all you got to do, the right deal to fall in your lap. And life doesn't usually happen that way. The girl of your dreams or the guy of your dreams doesn't just show up at your apartment while you're watching Dancing with the Stars and say, I've been looking for you this whole time and I finally found you. You have to get out there in the game and be aggressive for good things to happen. That's something Kyle and I learned when we were playing basketball. You want to be smart, but you want to be aggressive. You want to make things happen. You want to put pressure on the defense to make mistakes. And the same comes with business, with finances, with success in general, with fitness, right? You're not going to get in shape waiting to feel motivated to go to the gym. You're going to feel better when you go to the gym and you start working out. And then every workout's a little bit better than the workout was before. And I'm just sharing this with you guys because I remember what it was like when I lived my life without being assertive or aggressive. I was waiting for someone to come rescue me. The person didn't come. I finally got sick of it and started doing things. And I broke through that barrier way faster than what I thought I would. And looking back, it's just, why was I living life that way for so long? It's not designed to work that way, right? Like, you can hook a Toyota Corolla up to a boat. You could probably move it a little bit, but it's not designed to do that. Mm-hmm. It's designed for a different purpose. When you live life the way that God designed for it to work, and you take on the challenges that you're facing, the doubts that you're having, the issues in your personality that may have formed from pain that you went through or trauma that you went through. I haven't met anyone that engaged with that and came out of it and said, it just didn't work. Nothing worked for me, right? Was that similar for you?
Yep, very similar. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing for me that I've noticed about myself and the other people that have been here. And what that is like there's something to be said about getting out of your day-to-day environment, getting out of your city, your business, your normal patterns of life, and then putting yourself in that comfort zone. You can see Chase here said, shrink back to my comfort zone. That resonates a lot. That's what a lot of people here are doing. Thank you for cleaning my screen, David. That's what a lot of people are doing, right? They're getting out of their comfort zone to come here to sit around complete strangers, people they've never met before, and with the fear of like, am I going to get any value out of this? Am I going to learn anything? Can you tell me what's one or two things that you've learned about yourself during this process so far, especially getting out of your comfort zone?
I think the most poignant thing is that I'm my own worst enemy. You know, I'm very A-type personality. I'm very confident. I try to stay as humble as possible, but I'm not very humble about my work ethic. We talked about that I tell people I will outwork anybody that you put me against just because that's how I am. And realizing that may not be the best way to tackle something, you know, head on with just the bull rush in kind of mentality, realizing that was not helping me, it was hindering me in a lot of ways, kind of blew my mind. The vulnerability that you're bringing up, the people who are getting the most out of this retreat are the ones who are being vulnerable. They're the ones who are saying, look, I have this issue and this issue. I'm too close to the issue. Like, help me see what I'm not seeing. And those are the people that are unlocking their minds to the point where they can see a different perspective and they can key that perspective into their own, and then they can make a change. And that's what I think most people who don't change, who are just stuck in the regular routine of day to day, this is the pattern, this is what has always worked, is that valuable outside perspective.
How many times has someone ever stopped you from going to the gym to work out?
Not a one.
Right? How many times have you been trying to get a client for business or grow something, and somebody else purposely put themselves in front of you and they're like, I'm not going to let you get here. You're going to have to fight through this blocker like American Gladiators to get to where you're trying to go.
Nope, not a one.
Right? You said something very insightful, that you're your own worst enemy, but it's not just you. I am my worst own enemy. Kyle is his worst enemy. Everybody here is their own worst enemy. Everybody listening to this right now, I've got news for you. You do have an enemy, and it's you. There's no one out there stopping you from having the life that you want. Now, I also don't want to make it sound like it's easy and it's just, make a couple steps and it's going to happen. It's going to be hard, and that's why we don't do it. We know it's going to be hard, and sometimes we don't know the path. But you usually don't see step 5 until you've taken step 4, which you don't see until you've taken step 3. You do have to start doing things that put you in a new situation in life, to be exposed to different things before you realize where your weakness is, and then having faith that if you continue to hammer on that weakness, it's going to get better. But that feeling of progress and momentum that you start to put together when you do it is absolutely addicting.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was one of the things that I noticed to focus on in the Spartan League is you start little, you start with, saving a bit here and there, or identifying where you spend too much money. And that little bit becomes the addicting thing that you can scale to massive change, to building a real estate empire, to building a successful business, whatever it may be. The real pattern is identifying the small and simple things that you can easily change, build a habit out of, and then scale.
That is good, man. Who has questions for Mark? Put something in the chat here. We want to hear what you guys want to ask Mark, being out here in Scottsdale. I mean, what do you think about the house? Was the house what you were expecting?
I was mind blown. I mean, we pulled it up the other day just to kind of play a friendly game of how big is it really, and I couldn't fathom it. So this is the first time I've been in Arizona. I have traveled outside of my home state of Utah quite a bit, but not recently. And I've never come to a retreat like this. So this was kind of fun. It's a good environment because we're living, with the other retreat members. And so that's been kind of fun. And we get to see people in a bunch of different lights, which is also really valuable. But it's beautiful here. I mean, Kyle and I, we woke up and took about half the members. We did a hike this morning, 2 miles up to the top of the hill and just looked out over Scottsdale and up to the mountains. And that was kind of cool. So I love it here. It's beautiful.
What's the best part of the house that you've experienced so far?
That's
the rooftop, the inside.
The rooftop is beautiful. We got some cool photos up there. So honestly, interestingly enough, I'm not a people person very much, But my favorite part of the house has so far been the living room, where we all congregate for these meetings, because you can go to any section of that living room and you can start up a brand new conversation with anybody else, and that's kind of cool. So
What about, have you shot any pool yet?
I haven't shot any pool yet. I don't dare. So
okay, you're not a pool shooter?
No, I did it a little bit while I was in college, but not too much.
That's a good question.
Chase, that is a great question. I hesitated a lot. In fact, I don't know if Kyle remembers, but when we first started talking about the retreat, Kyle mentioned it, and I Instagrammed him, and I was like, I would love to go, man, but I just can't justify the cost.
I remember that.
Yeah. And his response was, you can't think about the cost. You got to think about what you're going to do with that money. And I was talking with one of the other retreat members last night, Jesse, before we went to bed, and he and I sat down, and he was like, if I went home tonight, I would feel like I got my money's worth. And I had to agree with him. I mean, the breakthroughs that I have had in just 2 days here, with these guys being real and vulnerable and wanting to help each other out, has been unprecedented in my life. And I didn't realize how badly I needed it. I definitely sold myself short on how much progress I could actually make over the next little bit.
Dude, that's cool to hear. For people that are wondering about these things or trying to figure out if it's right for you, I will say that there is a type of human that this would not make sense to come to, right? If you're somebody who's not trying to educate yourself, isn't necessarily ambitious, doesn't have talent or skills, like if you're just a person who's struggling to want to do anything, you're happy working at McDonald's. Maybe that's a better way to put it, right? A retreat where you're going to be pushed to make goals, learning about business, pushed to increase the defense of the money that you're already making and protecting what you have is not a great idea. You're not going to get value out of it, right? But Mark is a person that started a landscaping company, doubled the business every year for 3 years, went and got his real estate license, created Farmhouse Realty here, like this logo on his own. I don't think you've even talked to anyone that helped you, by the way. Give yourself a shout out. Where do you work, and where should people
you. So this isn't actually mine that I created. I just know the gal that did. So my broker is a close personal friend. We met when I started my landscaping company. And so it's Farmhouse Realty. We're located in northern Utah, about 15-20 minutes north of Salt Lake, depending on the traffic and the day.
Right. So somebody like Mark that's already done all that, we have a lot of confidence to say you're going to make more than the cost of the retreat when you leave here. Like, he could sell one home and make more than that money back. He could have one good month at his landscaping company and make more money than what happened here, let alone the next 20 years of his life as hopefully things increase. And so if you're someone who's spending your Friday night on YouTube listening to us talk about business and wealth and real estate and money, the odds of you getting something out of that are very high, okay? If you're the person who doesn't want to watch this, you're just binge watching Star Wars or Game of Thrones, and you know every single name of every droid in Star Wars, but you still live with your mom at 45 years old. Just to be frank, this is probably not the right event to come to. So it's not that it's for everybody, but for the right people, the people like us, the idea here is that we help remove some of the pieces that are in your mind that are stopping you from moving forward. And here's why I think that's important, guys. If you don't do that, if you don't remove the parts of you that are becoming your own worst enemy and getting in your way, you will think the problem is yourself. And when that happens, the fruit of that is shame, guilt, condemnation, feelings like you're not good enough, lack of confidence, beating yourself up. If you've ever been in your own head and just thought terrible thoughts about yourself, that is a symptom of being your own worst enemy. Okay. When you come to something like this, you realize, first off, you're not alone. Everybody has those same feelings. We're all struggling with the same thing, me included. And second, sometimes it's a tiny little piece that you just have to pull out and identify, and boom, you can get over it. We'll wrap up, Mark, if you don't mind sharing. Like, you had mentioned that you were having stellar growth every year. You were doubling your business, and you just hit what I'll call you just lost the desire to keep doing it. And that kind of scared you. Like, well, what am I supposed to do? Is it a new business I'm supposed to get into? You said you had a breakthrough about why you think that happened, and it was hope. Can you just share?
Yeah. So I grew my business, doubled it every single year for the first 3 years. And after that third year, it's funny that you bring this up, because I've been telling the other retreat members that I talked to this about, I didn't realize what those triggers were until this retreat, until I started looking back at that time period in my life. And I just had a bunch of distractions, and I let them get the better of me. So I had a grandpa who was struggling with his lawn care business. And so I moved an hour down south to help him out. I had met a girl, and so her and I were spending a ton of time together. And so I just let all of that other stuff basically cloud what my judgment was, what I actually wanted to do. And instead of taking responsibility when that started happening and changing it before it got overwhelming, I let it overwhelm me. And it got to the point where I couldn't recognize what was going on until I ended up at a place like here, where I was able to be vulnerable. I felt comfortable being vulnerable, and other people were able to give their input on what I was thinking and what I needed help with.
So are you going to incorporate something into your goals for the rest of the year to try to like recognize that that's happening again?
100%. Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, the last 2 years have been really difficult because I've never experienced them before. So now being through them and now having the fire lit back underneath me and being ready to go back into it, I think I'll be able to identify it much better this next time. So
I love
for
that.
sure.
And in addition to that, you've got an accountability group, a bunch of people
Yes.
that are behind you, cheering you on, keeping you accountable, in addition to the Spartan League that's going to help you get there.
Yep, 100%.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, we got our next person. Priscilla is coming up. She's going to come and hang out. Thanks again, Mark.
I believe
Appreciate you
Priscilla has a friend in the chat. If you are Priscilla's friend,
Yes.
and you're also in the Bay Area, will you send a comment so we can find you? Zachary loving the shades. I don't know if that was said in jest because these are like gas station sunglasses. I travel with like cheap travel stuff all the time. I was telling these guys the story about how the last like 4 years, if you saw me speaking somewhere, I was probably wearing the same shirt.
Yep.
Because that's like my travel shirt. He's talking about my sunglasses. I think he's recognizing they're like 7-Eleven specials or something. Did we find Priscilla's friend? Somebody was from the Bay Area and had shouted you out
earlier. I saw hi Priscilla. Let's see if we can.
They might be
find
away
it.
from their phone.
Yeah.
There was a smiley face
Really?
emoji if you see it.
Maybe they tuned out because we didn't bring
It's
her on
not that
quick
far.
enough. Not
Go
that
back.
far up.
No, go a little bit.
Let's see. It had a smiley face.
It had some kind of emoji, I believe. It said hi
Oh,
from the
had to be
Bay
before
Area.
Really? My boyfriend.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe it was your boyfriend. That could be funny, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, let me look for that and you can start talking to her.
So yeah, Priscilla, tell us a little bit about where you came from and how you found out about the David Greene Retreat.
So I've been watching the podcast or listening to the podcast for a couple of years. And I got the text letter and I was on a live, I guess one of these a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month ago. And I heard about the retreat and I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so awesome to go to. It took me a little while to fully commit, but I remember like there was this one moment and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going. I'm going.
So what was maybe one or two things that made you want to come in the first place?
Real estate has been something that I've been relatively obsessed about for the last couple of years. And so I think part of it is like being around who I consider to, be someone who's super trustworthy and an expert. That's kind of how I've, thought about David for the last couple of years. Also, just some of the topics that he was talking about in terms of, setting goals and, for me, weathering a potential oncoming recession is a big deal. And so that was really the clincher for me. That's why.
It's a little bit of a background on what you do in the Bay Area and what your focus is.
I'm an interior designer and I'm super passionate about my job. I've been doing it for over 20 years. And so I do new construction, remodels, kitchen bath design. And I also do, just some people hire me just simply for furnishings, window treatments and things like that.
I love it. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Mark.
Okay.
When you went in and you were going to hit that register for this event to purchase your ticket, get out here, what was your biggest concern or your biggest fear that you had maybe looming in the back of your head?
For sure, my biggest fear was I'm going to be the least experienced one there. And that I'm going to feel on the spot about that. I think that was probably my biggest nervousness.
This pressure of, I'm not worthy enough to come to this.
Yeah,
or I don't have
I
the
actually
resume.
did have that. Yeah, I did have that.
You know what I bet? I bet the majority of people all thought they were going to have less knowledge than everyone else.
Yeah.
I would bet almost everyone before they came here was thinking, I don't belong in that room. I'm not doing enough business to be able to justify doing it. And it's funny that those voices in our head rarely ever say like, you're going to have a lot of value to bring to everyone in that group. And you should go to help David make it a better retreat. Because there's going to be a lot of people that need to learn from you because you understand design, which very few people in real estate do. They're always telling you the opposite.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And coming here, I think it's been an extremely interactive event where we're all sort of talking and sharing our experiences and sharing our strengths and our weaknesses in our own lives and our own businesses. And it's been a really cool place to, just in this short amount of time, become really comfortable with one another. And I don't have that same fear that I had, 2 days ago.
Awesome. So what's it like now? What kind of thoughts are going through your head? What's the experience been like?
Oh my gosh, mind blown, right? So many things. It's a lot of things that I didn't expect. I think
Give us details. We want juicy details, Priscilla.
So for me specifically, what I thought was going to be sort of this recession proofing potential path has kind of shifted and pivoted. While I've been here, we've been talking a lot about, some really tough things. And that, I still have this, serious dream about real estate, but, maybe right now the time for me is to, look a little bit more closely at what I've got going on. And what I love is that you've kind of helped me marry this, what I do as an interior designer that I'm super passionate about, and how I can get into this real estate path in this kind of synergistic way that I really wasn't thinking about previously.
And that's important because we all know that we want more money. We know that we want a better life. We don't always know what that means, right? And so part of setting the right goals is saying, what are my unique skills? What feels light to me? What is fun? How do I make money with that?
Yeah.
So that you don't get into the position where everything's going great and you hate your life. A lot
Right.
of people don't find success, and many that do feel like, I don't know how to get off this treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that. Have you heard that analogy or that phrase of you have the wolf by the ears?
I haven't.
You haven't heard that before?
No.
It's this idea that a wolf's trying to attack you and you grab it by the ears. So it can't bite you, but you also can't let go.
Yeah.
And business can turn into that, where you build this big monster, but then you don't like it, but you can't get out of it because everyone depends on you. And this is your income stream. And like, you've already built so much into it.
Yeah.
So if you let go, you get bit, but you can't go live your life with freedom because you got to hold on to those ears.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
By the way, people in the chat, type in any questions that you have or any ahas that you have, but questions that you have specifically, Priscilla. By the way, don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this with other people because we want to get this information out. And yeah, this is, do you know a Chet here?
Yep, I do. Hi, Chet.
We got boyfriend in the house. What's going on, Chet? Thank you for
Call him
joining us
Cheddar.
here. Cheddar?
Cheddar, what's up, Cheddar? I like that.
I bet he loves that people call him Cheddar Bob. It's probably his favorite line.
So let me ask you another question, Priscilla. What's one thing that maybe you learned about David that you were not expecting at all? Like you maybe had what you thought David might be, and then you got here and you learned that he maybe was or wasn't that.
So I think one of the things that's been, different for me is I didn't realize, but it's this kind of really cool, refreshing thing that David has this whole other spiritual side to him, and that kind of drives everything he does. And so it makes me realize why, out of all the people I've listened to in different podcasts, why I felt like I trusted David. And
That's cool.
so
Thank you for saying that.
yeah, you're welcome. That was a surprise, but it's like, oh my gosh, all right, now I get that.
Now I know
get
why
it.
I listen every Friday night. This makes sense now.
Now I get it. Yeah.
All right. So leaving here, what's something that you want to make sure that you do when you leave, or that you take away from this, or a level of vision or clarity that you want to make sure you maintain that we can help you with?
Okay. So one of the things I wanted that I'm definitely taking away from this is, first of all, this immersion with all these like-minded people who are super obsessed, right? Like that's awesome for me. The desire to stay connected. And I know that, this has been a very, I was calling this retreat and this house the launch pad before I got here.
Okay.
Ooh, I like that.
So you knew it was going to be an impactful time.
I knew it was going to be impactful. And I'm excited to just go back and make some real changes. And I feel like I have the tools for that. And
Okay.
so the accountability that I think we're all going to be able to give to each other, I think is going to be really awesome.
So you're going to learn how to use Discord so we can all stay in
Heck
touch, right?
yeah. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So for the people that are attending the retreat, they're getting free access to my Discord channel that we're putting together right now. So the retreat members will be able to stay in touch with each other, share their goals, share how things are going, share their struggles, and like keep that momentum going.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Priscilla. And thank
Hey,
you,
you're
Chet, for letting
welcome.
us borrow your girlfriend.
Yes, thanks, Priscilla.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Next, we have our good friend Matt, who's making his way over.
Wait till you guys see Matt's shirt. I've been kind of wanting to wear it the whole time, but I felt too awkward to ask him.
It's a perfect shirt for like fishing.
My wife picked this
I feel
up.
like
at
you could work in
Target
the
for me.
gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can wear
What's
it
the
in gym.
name of this like pattern that has like the different colors of blue that kind of whatever that is? I've always liked that. You know what would you call that? Does anyone in the chat here know what this type of material is? They might not be able to see. It might just look blue from as far
Yeah,
away
it's
as
kind of
they
like a dry fit material, but you're talking about the pattern
Yes.
itself,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I don't know the
Like
pattern.
a heathered, maybe? Is it?
are. It's like
Yeah.
they took two like colors of fabric and weaved them together when they were putting it together.
I think we lost it. There, we're back. Okay, cool. So Matt, tell the people here watching, hanging out. We got about 75 people right now watching. Do you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you found the David Greene Retreat?
Sure. So I'm from the East Coast and kind of new in real estate in general. I owner-operator of a few businesses, predominantly in the wedding and event industry, food services.
Maybe talk a little louder.
Okay. Predominantly in wedding and event food service industries in the Northeast, looking to, get into real estate, commercial and multifamily as well. Came across this from Bigger Pockets, obviously, was kind of the segue that got me into actually purchasing some of David's books. And then that segued into the Spartan League, which segued into this retreat. So that's kind of how I heard about it and kind of what led me down the rabbit hole, if you will.
So what was your primary motivating factor? Why did you say, hey, you know what, this retreat looks interesting. I think I'm going to look into it. I'm going to really think hard about it. I'm going to talk to my wife about it. I'm going to fly across the country to go to this place and meet all these strangers. What was like one of the biggest motivating factors for doing that?
So I think for me was kind of looking at it from, what is going to be my return here and how fast can I get a crash course education? So I figured if I could, read books and watch YouTube videos and do all of that, that's going to take a good amount of time. And so this was kind of like a process or a prospect that I could, get a quick up to snuff education on a lot of the things that I think that I'm going to need to have to be able to be successful in the space.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked the last two. What was your biggest fear that you had before coming here? What was your biggest hesitation?
For me, honestly, it was probably just making sure that I was getting a return on my investment, right? It's time away from business. It's time away from family. It's a monetary commitment as well. So just making sure that I get value out of it. That was the biggest fear consideration for me was, is this going to be worth it?
Because we haven't only been talking about real estate. We haven't even actually talked about it too much while we're here.
Yeah.
When it comes to real estate, what's something that you want to make sure that we cover so that when you leave, you feel like you did get a bit of a crash course in? Is it analyzing real estate? Is it different asset classes you're kind of toying around with that you want to get into?
That's really hard for me to put a pin in because honestly, it's not really what I expected this to be. And now that we're into it a few days, I actually am finding more value in the topics of conversation that have been shared than, analyzing deals and talking about particular asset classes. Because I think that information is, more widely available. It is, kind of out there in the ether for you to obtain via books or via other speakers. So I think that would have actually been something that I felt I wasn't getting a good return on if it was just, all right, let's break
the same
down
stuff you can hear anyway.
Yeah, let's just break down a bunch of duplexes and see what that looks like, right? So I think that was the biggest thing for me was, once I got in and kind of realized like that, that's not what this is. That's when it really kind of struck me like, all right, I am going to get my value here. I am going to be able to, get something different out of this experience.
So far we've talked about goal setting, what's important to you in life that should go into your goals. We've talked about finding goals that are synergistically aligned with the way you want your life to look. Today, we talked a lot about business. You are a major contributor in the conversations about building a database, what a sales funnel looks like, how to market to a database, how to leverage off certain parts of business and keep other parts of it. It was supposed to be kind of like the fundamentals of how business is supposed to be structured. How do you feel that I did covering that topic as a successful businessman?
Yeah, I think you did great, actually. So if I had to sum it up, it was a pretty good crash course in all relevant topics for being able to start a business and to kind of get it off the ground. Personally, I kind of had a lot of that information, but still being in a room with people where you're conversing about it and you're talking about it and you're getting different perspectives, that's where I found value in today's conversation. It wasn't like a sales funnel was new to me, or
right.
A strategy was new to me. It was hearing other people's perspectives and their use cases and how that may relate to me and to my business. That was probably where I found the most value.
Yeah, that's so true. Like I always, and I know I'm not the only one that does it. I think everyone here probably does it too, but I have this tendency to think about my problem will be solved by getting a new framework, a new 18-step process that will fix whatever's going wrong with hiring or with revenue or whatever the thing is. And then I go try to execute on that and it doesn't really ever move the needle. And then I listen to a story that another person told and something clicks in my head. I'm like, oh, I could do that different. Oh, I could try this different. Or maybe I'm explaining what's going on in my world to that person. And in the middle of talking, I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I need to do. Like, have you had similar moments where you're either teaching or you're learning and things start to click and like ideas pop into your mind that weren't there before?
Yeah. And the best example I can give is if you've ever seen that video of Elon Musk being interviewed and they're talking about like booster rockets and they're like, oh, we do this, this, and this. And the guy goes, well, why don't you do that for the other rockets? And he goes, yeah. Why didn't we think of that?
Yeah.
We're gonna do that,
that, yeah.
right? And so you got one of the smartest guys that's thought through this, and all of a sudden, just being on an interview, just had that aha moment. So for me, I think the way I can draw that back to my aha moment for today was I've been considering consulting for small businesses specific to my industry, and the aha moment was realizing that everybody else in the room would value or find value in somebody that was offering that service. And that really kind of just supported that idea and is making it something I'm going to pursue now.
Well, that's awesome, man. When you leave here, what have you thought of any ideas or anything that you want to change about your business that you might get distracted by, forget, not stick to the commitment of, that we can keep in mind to help keep you accountable and keep you supported when it comes to any changes? Still putting that together?
Yeah, I'm sure there are definitely. I mean, put it this way: there's definitely things that are there. It's really the question of what are the biggest obstacles or the biggest items on the list that need to be addressed on a continual basis. And I'm still kind of dissecting that. And to be honest, like my existing businesses were not the primary focus for me coming here. It was the new prospects that may be out there that I've been hesitant or skeptical about pursuing. That has really kind of garnered most of my attention while I've been here so far.
Okay. You're a smart guy, and everybody else needs to get a little piece of Matt here. Do you have a social media or anything that people can follow?
I don't really.
No social media. It doesn't surprise me.
We need to get that already. Yeah.
What about if somebody wants to contact you about having a wedding planned and organized? What's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. So if you've ever watched the movie Step Brothers and seen Prestige Worldwide, I actually did license the domain and the business. So you can find
that?
me.
That is hilarious.
Matt at prestigeworldwideevents.com.
I'll type it here in the chat.
prestigeworldwideevents.com. All right. And is there a certain like geographical location that you're looking to pick up business in?
For execution of weddings and events is definitely the Northeast. As far as consulting for wedding and event businesses, pretty much just in the U.S. anywhere. All
right. So reach out to Matt if you want consulting to step up your wedding venue. The guy's wicked smart. We've had a really good time learning from him at prestigeworldwideevents.com. And if you're in the Northeast, reach out to him to plan your wedding. Well, you're not a wedding planner. How do you define your business? I was meaning to ask you that.
Yeah, so it's very hard to define, right? Because we have our own wedding venue, but then we have the catering company that does all the facilitation for the food services, the flowers, the DJs, the photo booths.
So can people skip the wedding planner and come right to you?
Yeah, actually, in most cases, we don't advise clients to work with a wedding planner. It's only when you're working with a facility that doesn't have good infrastructure, or it's a backyard type of a shindig, that you need that quarterback for the event. But we do offer that service.
So if you want to cut out the middleman in your wedding, go to prestigeworldwideevents.com and hit up Matt.
One question for you. Favorite quote from Step Brothers?
Did we just become best friends?
I think we did.
Not bad.
Yeah.
You knew that was coming, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's a
That
nice
was
setup.
really good. Very nice.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Matt. Thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions in the chat here about Spartan League. So you can go to SpartanLeague.com to sign up. But really what it consists of, and Matt is a member of Spartan League. That's actually how he found out about the retreat. He was in Spartan League. We were talking about the retreat, and he decided to join. But basically, every Monday we have a guest speaker that comes in. Maybe it's somebody from the Bigger Pockets podcast. Maybe it's one of these retreat members here who has a very successful business that comes in and talks about real estate or how to build wealth or how they're structuring their business, what they're doing. And it's your opportunity to get in and learn from these individuals, these people that are much further ahead on the path than you are. And I saw here, it looks like Kay Sill was talking about them being impacted by BP episode 390 with Lika. We actually had Lika on the Spartan League. She came and joined us and got to talk directly to our members. So that's every Monday night. Every Thursday night, we have an accountability call, and this is around budget. This is around finance. This is around tracking. Sometimes it's around fitness. It's focusing on the mundane things, the things that we don't want to do, but we know we need to do. It's like our day of the week where we're eating our broccoli. We don't like eating that broccoli, but we know we have to. We know it's important. And that's the week where all of our members come in and connect with each other to keep each other accountable, specifically on financial topics. Things like, how can I increase my income? How can I reduce my expenses? How can I pay down my debt? What kind of debt should I be paying down? And how can I make sure I'm not falling into lifestyle creep and making sure that, my expenses are going way too up, especially because right now, as with the sort of the changes we're seeing in the economy, there's some fears and concerns about what's ahead. And so that's this whole concept of what David talks about, building your financial fortress and being ready and being prepared for that.
Yeah. So the idea for this came literally out of my friendship with Kyle. So we knew that I wanted to work out more. Kyle wanted to work out more. We made it a plan every week to do it. And then we only made it the gym like one day a week. I know people can relate to that. You say you want to do something, you want to meal prep, you want to eat better, you want to work out, you want to run, and then you just don't, because there's always something better. Well, what changed for me was when Kyle started checking in every day. Did you go to the gym today? Hey, I'm going to cover for you. I'm going to do this meeting. Get your butt in the gym and go get a workout in. All right, send me a picture so I know that you were there. And then I started checking in with Kyle. Did you work out today? How is your progress going, right? And as Kyle started lifting heavier weight, I started to feel like it was my success. I started to feel really good about seeing Kyle's body developing, the confidence that comes from getting stronger. He's slowly starting to like exercise and weightlifting more than when we were just basketball players, which is like the last time that we exercised, right?
Yeah.
And we realized I probably wouldn't be getting stronger and in the gym as much. A couple of you guys have commented on that in the comments. That's pretty cool. Thank you. If it wasn't for Kyle having my back, like a Spartan soldier defends the soldier that's next to him, and he would feel the same way. So we're creating this community where you have that reminder. This is what you want to do. You see the wins of the other members that pumps you up, and they want to see you win. Sometimes you're 98% of the way to your goal, but it's that last 2% that's missing that stops progress. So in this group, we defend each other like Spartan soldiers defend each other, and we defend our income.
Yep.
We also plan what we're going to do with our money. We don't just randomly analyze properties hoping that we find a good one. Every dollar is given a job, whether that's paying off debt, being saved for the right time, cutting stuff out of the budget that doesn't need to be there because it's not worth it. Coming into this economy, I firmly believe we're going into rough times, and there's more to life than just accumulating cash flow. You got to protect the money that you've already got. So Spartan League was designed to replicate what we got out of our friendship for other people to see and to get some momentum going, so that if you're having a hard time saving money, maybe you start to get your fitness in line, you're watching the pounds come off on the scale, you're watching your weights go up that you're lifting. It becomes easier to apply that momentum into something else, like watching your budget, not spending money on dumb things, making more money at your job, or doing better with the real estate that you own.
Yeah, and Teresa asked a good question too. What time do we meet on those Mondays and Thursdays? Well, we meet at 6 p.m. Pacific time, California time, LA time, every Monday and every Thursday. And the good news is, if you miss one, if you don't make it, they get recorded. So if you miss it and you can't make it, You can go back the next day, watch the recording, and then you can still connect with people because we also have an online community that's exclusive to the people in the Spartan League where they come in and they communicate and we all talk to each other. We keep each other accountable there. We bring our problems, we bring our wins, we bring our struggles, we bring the things that we're learning about ourselves to that online community too. So it's a really cool way to keep each other accountable and continue to grow too.
Absolutely. We have one more person to bring on.
No, we got a few shy people. If you can just yell out and see if someone wants. You can bully them a little bit.
I don't know. They might not want to be seen without their.
You want to come?
Yeah, I sent a text message.
Is that Jeremy?
Oh, okay, cool. No, not Jeremy. It's our boy. Who else wants to come though?
Wow, what's going on, Pat?
It's one of our Spartan League members as well.
Here we go. The Carnivore. Has anyone called you that?
No,
Can
We
spell it?
should.
Just Logan, huh?
Logan works.
The Carnivore is
although
kind of a cool name. man.
Logan probably doesn't come through as much with the hat on. But
Yeah. Everybody here, I find a celebrity that they look like, and you can't tell it now because Patrick's wearing a hat, but he looks a lot like Wolverine. Hugh Jackman right here because he's a jacked man. I actually went for a run in the middle of the day because part of my goals are to work out 5 times a week, and there's no weights here to lift. So instead I had to go running, and I saw Mr. Patrick doing the same thing, man. Are you disappointed that Scottsdale's not as hot as you were thinking?
no, I came from Seattle.
So this
Oh,
is okay
yeah.
for you.
This
We
is
have sun.
This is warm
Yeah.
for me. Yeah. No, this is great. It's there's enough sun and there's enough sky. It's great.
So, Pat, tell us a little bit about number one, how did you find out about the Spartan League? But then number two, how did you find out about the retreat initially?
I follow David on most socials, so
More on my runs.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I found out through there, and yeah, I signed up right around Thanksgiving for Spartan.
Mhm.
So I've been hitting probably more recordings than live events, just due to life.
Yep.
And I think you've seen me on a few where I don't have my face on because I'm doing a multitasking, and you probably don't care to watch me work out while I'm listening.
Well, actually, now that you're telling me you're working out, I kind of do want to
Yeah.
see that. I think that would inspire me and the members.
See the Leonidas look.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, no, that's how I got here. Heard about it through the socials and then through Spartan League for the retreat. So just got multiple channels coming at me.
Nice. Okay. So when you signed up for the retreat, what was your biggest fear, concern, or hesitation that you had about coming?
Once I found out what the focus was, I didn't have any of those It was also nice that no one was making a promise that once I came here, I was going to leave and know how to make $50,000.
Yeah.
So that I didn't have to worry about false promises, right?
Mhm.
Because if I was coming based on a promise, then I would have been a little bit worried. But I trusted in David puts out free information. It feels genuine. So I assumed just the transference that it was going to be the same thing once I got here, and it really has been. It's been really nice.
Nice. So we've asked people what they think about David, but let me also ask you this: what has your experience been with the members the other guests that you've met here,
Mhm.
and how has that been for you?
Well, that's just as big of a selling point, really. So a lot of us here are talking about topics where if we brought them up in our normal social circles can be, adversarial,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people that don't talk about money don't want to talk about money.
Mhm.
And some of us that have goals, we want to talk to other people about this. And it's not about, no one's talked about, I want to, go drive a Ferrari or anything like that. I mean, there's a lot of us here who have, multiple properties or a side business, but, drive a car that's 15 years old with the paint that's coming off, right? It's not about show. It's just about coming together to actually have transparent conversations with other people who have the same types of goals. And even though everybody's a stranger, people aren't putting up walls. Like people are really open.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people are just excited to be talking to other people about these topics.
That's cool to hear. I like that. This is definitely a very interactive thing where we're kind of all contributing to a conversation, sharing vulnerabilities, sharing fears, and sharing things that we're excited about, and then bouncing ideas off of each other. So today we talked about potential businesses that we might want to start. We poked holes in the ideas. We also encourage each other about how it could work. We hypothetically thought about what it would look like if we did this or what questions we'd be asking. I don't know that I've ever been in a situation where we've sort of roundtabled something like that. So I enjoyed it. As far as your goals leaving here, do you know anything concrete that you would say, I don't know yet everything, but I know this is something I want to make sure I do that we can keep in mind to support you?
I think there's a North Star that I have now that I didn't have before, and that's really what I was looking for, was a framework for how to think about setting goals, not coming here and having David Greene tell me I need to go buy 5 more houses and then I can retire, right? Like it's the focus on what's the kind of person you want to be, what's the kind of impact you want to have, and working backwards from that, and aligning the goals to achieve that. I still have to define what that is for me, right? But even if I left here right now and we're halfway through this, just having the 5 to 10% that I've gotten out of this that I didn't have before is enough for me to kind of break through the barrier I've been having. So to me, that's going to be totally worth it.
So it sounds to me like you have a little bit more clarity, direction, and maybe some tools and resources that you're going to start pulling together.
I would definitely say tools, and direction. Just again, something as abstract as just that North Star. I don't exactly know the exact course, but I know the direction now.
That's awesome.
So I can work backwards.
You know what direction the journey is going to go?
Yes.
Right. Which is the most important part, because I've so many times I found until I take the first step, I can't see where the second step's going to be. And I definitely don't know where the third is. But when you're just sitting, turning in a circle and you don't know where you want to go at all, that's that's when you have the analysis paralysis. It's the most frustrating. You're watching other people being successful. You're hearing about the progress they're making. And you're just like, F the world. How come that can't happen for me? You really need to get that general direction that you want to start in, and then clarity comes.
Yeah. And at least in my case, like I've had I defined what I thought a foundation was going to be. I had a plan to get to that foundation. I'm going to hit that milestone in the next 12 to 18 months. And so now I need to define, what's the next part of the journey. And so just having the North Star for right now is great. I've got a year and a half to really figure it out. I don't think it'll take that long, but I've got time, and now I've got some better tools and a support system, right? And it's not, just the people that are on camera. It's the people that we're meeting here. And, I think I know everybody's name.
Nice. And if you don't, we have name tags. So
yeah. But no, we're all a lot of us are exchanging information, and there are different skill sets in the audience here, right? There are some people who are real 1099s. There are some people that have scaled some really big stuff. I think you just talked to Matt. I mean, the stuff he's done with his business it's just really great to hear the thought he's put into it, and it can be applied to many different industries.
Last question I'll ask you is, what's maybe one thing that you've learned about yourself during this retreat? Something maybe you didn't quite recognize or was bubbling right below the surface that you've learned about yourself?
Just how much of a difference it makes to be around other people where you can have transparent conversations, and they're reciprocated, right? Like if I try to broach some of these subjects with people I know, like something you say, they're not even thinking on the same plane, and it's not a negative. It's just I can't talk to
Or you worry about being perceived like you're greedy, or why isn't it enough, or shouldn't you be out solving world hunger instead of trying to buy your next property? And you don't want to open up about your goals if you think they're going to be judged by people that don't understand it.
Exactly. I try to offset that with a crappy car, but
I hear you on that, brother. All right. Well, thank you, bro. We appreciate you coming out. It was great that you're here, and we'll get back into it tomorrow.
We'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody.
And we've got a special guest to wrap tonight. Come on in. It is the wizard himself, CB, the one broker. Let me think of a nickname that starts with B. One broker badass. We could go.
Ooh, how about the one badass? Too bad we got 3 of them right here, though.
If you mix them, you could say the one broke ass, but that doesn't sound.
We don't like
that. Doesn't sound the same.
Hopefully not.
Nursing an injury, by the way, here, still making it for all of our retreat members, and giving them the best experience that he can.
Yeah, this has been a cool event. I mean, we did one of these earlier in the year, last year, I guess.
Yes.
And that one was a lot more kind of real estate related. This one's been super fun, kind of seeing different people's business, a little bit different of the kind of the base of people that we've kind of been surrounded with these last couple of days. It's been really cool seeing how people are growing business wise, you know, professional wise, and really personal. You know, we even talked about spiritual growth. We talked about a lot that's kind of transcending kind of the normal stuff that we talk about, whether it's on David's podcast, what we talk about obviously at the One Brokerage, Kyle with David Greene team. It's been cool. It's been a really cool, different perspective on things.
Despite the injury. So, yeah. Christian, I've been asking a lot of the retreat members, the guests, kind of their perspective as a guest, and you know what they have coming in, what their mindset looks like coming in, what their focus is coming in. For somebody who's part of the staff and the team, what's kind of your focus that you come in with individually of what you want to be able to bring to the guests and to the table? What do you strive to do, both from like, you know, obviously your financial wizardry side, but then also just you as a successful entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think something I found a lot of, I've shared a little bit about in our kind of group meetings, but something that I'm kind of pivoting my pursuits on lately is really, it sounds cliche, but not necessarily pouring into people, but giving people resources and access to, whether it's obviously our programs are one thing, but access to this group of people and this advice council that really allows them to pour into themselves, right? Allows them to maybe unlock, you know, we've had so many people ask questions like, there's just something holding me back and I don't know what it is.
Yes.
I just, there's something there, right? There's that unknown, you know, just brick wall that's in my brain, whether it's with business, whether it's with friendships, family. We've had, you know, relationship talk here, right? And it's been really cool kind of sharing, you know, I shared a little bit of a personal experience with myself, with the people last night that I really think really, you know, drove home to a couple people like, that's what I'm missing. That's it, you know, and just, I obviously probably what a lot of other people said, but just putting yourself around similar minds and people who are trying to pursue the same things that you are. Sometimes somebody else has already ran to that solution that you're looking for just so intensely, and you just need that second pair of eyes on it, right? And that's been fun, kind of seeing how everybody comes to the same conclusion as a group.
So in spite of being in pain and not feeling great right now, I've seen Christian speaking with our guests about an insurance business that ended up not doing well and what could have done different, what the second iteration of that might look like. Loan products, absolutely. Different solutions people might have to continue funding their real estate, cash out refinance options where people could get capital out to go put into something different. And it doesn't have to be new real estate. It could be, but you also might want to pull money out of an asset and use that to be seed money to go start your own business, which is kind of cool when you have a business that reflects the values that you live by. It doesn't always feel like work when that's the case.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing you contributing with some of the bruises that you've taken in the business world, because we all take those all the time, and sharing how other people could avoid those. Also, people might not know about this about you. The people who come under your tutelage tend to make a lot more money than before they did, right? You have any stories that you want to share about some of the loan officers that started working at the One Brokerage who went from being broke to being a badass financially?
Like that. That's right. Being one broke to one broker, right? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've shared about it a lot on different podcasts and different things that maybe some of the audience have seen, but you know, Alan, obviously. Alan was my college roommate, one of our top producing loan officers now. And it's been really cool to see his growth, because he started in a completely different, he was a medical credentialist, something that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, many people did. And
that makes me think of that's the person that prints out the credentials that you put up on your wall for like a medical degree.
Close to it. He was basically the person making sure that the doctor that said he went to Harvard, who got a job acceptance, actually went to Harvard, right? And you think, you hear all these stories of people like lying on their resumes. Well, Alan was the guy catching you. But it's been cool, because, you know, he was making, you know, W-2 in corporate America, kind of, you know, realizing that's, you know, I got to climb the ladder and all that. And it's been kind of fun, because he kind of took a leap of faith with me. And it's funny, he joined me right before we partnered up. And it's been cool seeing his growth in a completely different industry, and obviously income growth and personal growth, spiritual growth, mental growth, everything that's come along with. You know, obviously DeWall's another one who's my best friend since I was in middle school. She did the same thing, took the leap of faith and had confidence in what we're building. And it's just, man, it is incredibly rewarding, similar to how I shared with seeing the people growing here. It's cool when somebody dives in and believes in what you're building, and not only builds up your business, but personally grows as well. It's really cool to see people grow together. And obviously when it's your business, it's mutually beneficial all the way around.
Well, it's very hard to have financial growth without personal growth.
Oh yeah.
And I would say one of the things that stops people from having financial growth is the medium they're looking for, the trail or path they're looking for is one that doesn't involve personal growth.
Yeah.
I want to go pay for a course, or I want to go buy a book that's going to teach me what to do that doesn't require anything else out of me.
There's got to be a shortcut.
Yes, they're looking for a shortcut. What exercise book can I read that's going to make me get fit? I don't like to go to the gym and work out, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about earlier, we are our own worst enemy in every single scenario. There's very few people that are getting in our car, in front of our car before we pull out of the driveway, stopping us from going to work that day. It is our own stuff in our own head that stop us, and personal growth helps get over some of those things, which is required before financial growth is going to follow, right? We also had Ricky, who was like a 20-year-old kid working at Chase Bank that needed a lot of maturing in his young life, but is probably our top producing loan officer right now, making tens and tens of thousands of dollars a month that he wouldn't have been making if he wouldn't have grown up, right? And so being in the right environment, being around people who are a little bit ahead of him and have figured this stuff out, that are holding him accountable, doesn't always feel good. Just like I'm sure being a Spartan warrior did not always feel good, right?
Yeah.
But you definitely like the results. So if you guys are interested in a career as a loan officer, we'll have Christian tell you how he can get hold of him. And if you want to get a loan, it better be through us. If you guys are here on these Friday nights, we're not asking you to pay anything, but we do want you to send us your referrals so that we can make sure that we take care of you. Where's the best place for people to reach out if they want to talk about a career or about getting a loan?
Absolutely. It looks like Kyle's right ahead of me there. Just slip that down there. That's my personal email, christian@theonebrokerage.com. That also happens to be our web address is theonebrokerage.com. It has an apply now link, reach out, inquire. We don't charge application fees or anything like that, guys. I mean, come on, advice is free, right? Come talk to us, learn about loan products. And just like David said, if you're a realtor and you're sick of your lender letting you down, if they don't respond, if they don't pick up their phone, if they're falling out of escrow, they can't get the deal done. Obviously, we're not perfect, but I would say there's a lot of worse options out there, right? And we know our stuff. We know a bunch of different loan products, everything from conventional to hard money. We have connections, and we can fund products when it seems like all other options are out with the Wells Fargos and the Chases of the world, right? So give us a call, give us a shout out on our website anytime, and we'd love to help you guys out. Family, friends, anybody that you got referrals for. See what we're about.
You can also come to one of these retreats and just listen to Christian talk, and you will leave sounding like you are a mortgage licensed loan officer.
That's right.
Because he's going to give you that much information. So it's kind of like being at Disneyland, and you're like, look, it's Donald Duck. Look, it's Mickey Mouse.
That's right.
Christian, it's Kyle, it's David. So I'm glad that you're here, man, and it's a good time. Anything that you want to leave the people with on YouTube who may feel like they have big goals for 2023, but they're not making progress and they're frustrated with that?
I'd say somebody said some, I forget, it was Matt, or I don't remember who it was exactly, but somebody said you're that, it's kind of the cliche, but you're the average of the sum of the 5 people closest to you. I can tell you all these people here have gotten the new 5 closest people to them this weekend. And just if you're sitting at home watching this, if you're just kind of reminiscing on your, pursuit in business or personal or spiritual, whatever you want to fill in the blank here, look around yourself, right? And if you feel weird talking about finance, and we've had so many people here saying it, I feel so uncomfortable talking about my financial pursuits and my business developments because people in my circle they don't care. Maybe they're not as financially savvy as me. And that's holding you back. That's an obstacle, right? I mean, that's something that is not allowing you to grow at the pace that your work ethic and your determination would be allowing you under the right circumstances. It could be us. It could be this it could be this network and our sphere of influence. But get around some people who have similar motivation as you. Get in the right room. Get in the right networks, and you'd be shocked. Your growth's just going to start happening, without even you pursuing it at that point, right? You're just going to be pushed forward by everybody around you. That's the biggest thing that I can see it happening in real time here.
So true, man.
And hopefully I see it happening for you guys as well.
It's a great point. When you think about, I don't have the best eating habits. It's something I'm working on, right? When I'm at an event with a bunch of people that eat healthy, you just don't want to be the guy that goes for the carbs when nobody else is.
It's funny. There's a whole bowl of carbs sitting in there right now, and there's been like 2 people who have touched them, and it was probably me and David.
Yeah, because nobody wants to be the one that's eating
right.
the carbs, right? When you used to work out and you don't work out anymore, maybe you got a little too much Al Bundy in your life, and you're talking about what used to be, and then your new friends are all like, hey, you want to go to the gym and work out? you actually go.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I remember I used to like this. This wasn't that bad. And you start to feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing goes with finances. When you're working a job that's very comfortable, you're driving a truck for Coca-Cola, and it pays the bills, but it's not really blowing your socks off. And you get around people that are entrepreneurs, that are building businesses, that are challenging themselves, that are talking about how exciting it was and how stressful it was, and they're putting everything together. You start to realize, I could do that too.
Yeah.
At one point, I had dreams. Where did they go? So we would highly encourage you, if it's not us, to find a group of people that you can be around and let some of that rub off on you. We think too much that other people just picked themselves up by the bootstraps and made something happen, when in reality, they just got connected to the right group and got caught up in a wave that carried them.
Well, I just want to this is a obvious example here, but I've been asked probably 5 times on the street, how did you meet David? This is not something that I wasn't born into David's sphere of influence. This is something where I was seeking out a room that would push me forward. I was seeking out, David was seeking for a business partner that gave him something in his business, right? This is very active, intentional efforts led to us, all 3 of us, connecting, right? So it's not just something that we're preaching. I'm sitting here watching it happen in real time. I've lived it. Put yourself in the rooms. You may end up partnered with somebody like David, right? You may end up partnered with somebody who pushes you forward at a speed and pace that you wouldn't have even dreamed of otherwise, right? You never know what the next room you're going to walk into and the opportunity that sits there.
I love that. Yeah, don't be afraid to hit that reset button. The people from our last retreat, we still know them on a first name basis. We still message each other. A lot of them are still in the Spartan League. We still talk. We still consult a lot with each other. And it's going to be the same thing with this group. And it doesn't even necessarily need to be this specific room. Go find the room that you need to be in. It's not too late. If you're looking at your life right now, feeling like, gosh, it's too late. I've surpassed my time. It's never too late to hit that reset button and get started.
Absolutely.
All right. If people want to check out what these retreats are like, where can they go?
Go to, David's going to pull it up, davidgreene24.com/retreats. David Greene. See, this is what happens when we let David produce the show. I'll pull it up for us. davidgreene24.com/retreats. You can find out more information there, or just send us an email, info@davidgreene24.com. And we'd love to give you some more information about the upcoming ones. Let us know, where you'd like to have a retreat too. If you want to come to Scottsdale, if you want to go somewhere else,
Florida, Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. We've been kind of playing around with different locations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And last but not least, check out SpartanLeague.com to kind of see what Kyle's been up to. He's got his Spartan League sweater on, which we think is actually pretty cool. We like the logo. And then if you're thinking about buying real estate, but you're not sure, you don't know if you want to pull the trigger, you're waiting to see what goes on with the economy. Here's my quick tip for today. Get pre-approved right now. Just don't go buy anything. Hit us up at the One Brokerage, fill out a mortgage application, talk to a loan officer, get comfortable with the people, reach out to Christian, get pre-approved so that when it's time to buy the house, all you have to do is send us updated pay stubs or updated, what else might be in there? I guess probably taxes.
Bank statements.
Bank statements and pay stubs, right? And then you're ready to go. You're not scrambling to try to figure out what you can afford, not knowing what properties to look at. Your realtor's sending you $1 million homes when you're on a $400,000 budget, and then everything looks like it sucks because you got a little too spoiled, right? Let us start that journey and paint that picture for you of what that should be, so that when you decide it's time to go, you're not scrambling trying to put it together. You think that's good advice?
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. Thank you, guys. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share this. We want to get more people following us on YouTube, and it's hard to do. So we really appreciate if you guys would subscribe to the channel and share it with other people. And let us know in the comments what you'd like to see future episodes on. We read those. We will make them topical based off of what you guys would like to see, as well as what type of topics you'd like to see future retreats on. We're going to go grab something to eat because we are starving. But it was nice to see you guys all here tonight.
Awesome.
Have a great weekend. See you guys.
Appreciate it, y'all.